Good day, everyone! State of Exile podcast episode 15 with Grindy Gear game developers Carl and Rory. Sorry for being so loud. We are so pumped today because this is the first time, I think, ever, I might be wrong, but Grindy Gear game devs will be live on camera during this podcast. It's pretty wild. We've had in the past before, Hedgie has and Ox has, as well as yeah, it was Hedgie and Ox did the other ones, and then we had them in episode 5 and 10. But this is a very awesome State of Exile podcast where your questions that were asked your questions that you submitted will be asked to these developers. Just as a heads up, this is a summary of what we'll be dealing with today. Today we're going to just discuss what we've been doing in the game, and we're going to talk about the two first level 100s and beyond, and then in Rampage. We'll be going down the new style of weapon crafting, and then some good quick trade tips to to get that awesome item you want for pretty cheap. Let's go into thank yous, huh? So I want to thank Grindy Gear Games, probably because they're only providing 2 developers out of their sweet time Monday morning, which is like usually their busiest time. So thank you very much for allowing that to happen. That's huge, and I know Carl and Rory are pretty high up on the ladders there. So thank you very much, guys. I want to also thank Grindy Gear Games for giving some MTXs to give away to these awesome viewers here. Let's thank Twitch for allowing this front page access yet again. Whew. You guys are awesome for supporting Path of Exile. And then, of course, you viewers out there who love to spam chat ever so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you for coming by yet again. So what are we kicking off today, Ziggy? Wow, Giggy. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Giggy? Oh, yes. So the first half of the show will be Sans developers. We're only able to grab them for an hour, but we'll be squeezing as much value out of that second hour as we can, guys. But first, what have we been up to? Not only in Path of Exile, but in life over the past 2 weeks since the last podcast. So I'm going to hand off to Pox first, who I think had a bit of an entertaining night last night. What have you been up to over the past couple of weeks, Pox? How you feeling, man?
Well, so for those of you guys who don't know, I'm actually moving. I'm moving in with Zeno, who is also here in the podcast. We're going to be moving together. We're flying to Dallas. Well, I'm flying to Dallas. He's going there. And we're going to be roommates. And it's going to be pretty sick. So this last whole week, I've been pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for? Exhausted. I'm hanging out with my friends, trying to party as much as I can, saying goodbye to everybody. Because, I'm not going to see them anymore. I'm moving. I'm going away. And that's pretty much it on that. But on the topic of, should I jump right into my characters?
Yeah.
I'm going to just jump into that? Okay, because that's something new to me. So, see, what's happened recently is something that I'm not really familiar with, because normally I'll just make a really tanky character or something and just have fun with it. But no, this league for me is all about deaths. I have lost every single character to my name, and I'm very sad. I've lost my 88 Shockwave Totem to a, let's see, my 88 Shockwave Totem died to a disconnect. My 89 Shockwave Totem died to a one-shot Ice Nova box. One of my dischargers died in town, but I killed it, I didn't want it. Then my other discharger at level 72 died from, I don't even remember what it died from.
The box.
It died from the box, yes, the 71. Sorry, the 71 discharger died from a box that I thought I opened, that I didn't open, and then its reaction time was better than my reaction time. It was pretty funny. So basically, I went to go, for people who don't know, the way burning, prolif builds work is you can just bring a bunch of mobs around a box, and you can essentially just overkill the damage. So I'll double curse it with flammability and elemental weakness to just crazy reduce their maximum, their fire resistance. And then I'll discharge with my endurance charges, which leaves the proliferation on the floor. And then I'll open the box, and then the mobs will instantly die from the burn damage. And I went to go open it, and I thought I opened it because I lagged. Sometimes with the spawning of monsters, you lag for a little bit. And then right after the lag ended, there was Beyond mobs. So I was like, oh, I killed all the mobs, and the Beyond mobs are there. So then the box didn't open, so of course, you go check around if there's a random, snake that runs away or something. And I was like, I can't find this. So I come back to the box, and I scroll my little cursor in and everything, and I'm just looking at this box. I'm like, I'm just going to click on it. I'm just I'm just going to have fun with this box and spam click it because that's what I like to do. And I clicked it, and the next thing I know, I didn't have any of my endurance charges up. I didn't have my granite flask up, and there was at least 8 Flicker Strike mobs inside there. And just immediate Flicker Strike and then dead. It had Explosion on it, but the box didn't even get to explode before I died. So it was pretty crazy, and I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do next. Actually, Zeno has gotten me hyped for talking about sword builds, and I think I might finally try like a physical damaging build in this league. So
Finally.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But what do you guys think about that?
Well, now that we're on the topic
Well-
of swords, you cool, Z?
Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
I've died so many damn times because that is what I guess I'm best at. But I'm finally playing this my prized possession spec I played back in the last 4-month league, and the spec was based around using dark ray vectors for dodge chance. Dodge, unlike evasion, is set RNG, where it's if you don't roll evade, you roll dodge. If you don't roll dodge, you roll block. It's just an extra form of mitigation that has no extra variable like chance to hit, accuracy, blind. What's the other one? Entropy. There's none of that. Dodge, it's just you dodge or you don't. And it's a beautiful mechanic. I will be having 10 Frenzy Charges. I already have my +1 Dark Ray Vector set up. They offer you +2 to max Frenzy Charges, and then a +1 max Frenzy Charge Stone of Lazar, which is spell block with 2% dodge because of the Frenzy Charge. With this setup, I can achieve 60% dodge. And then I'm going to, instead of last time I used the Resto's Defiance, which offers you another 6% dodge, I'm going to use Queen of the Forest, which offers you a crazy amount of evasion, and then move speed per evasion, tri-res, life, and then some gimmick less damage taken from animals, which I guess is Devourers. Can't complain there. So, and then the last thing I want to try out, which I don't know if it'll be successful or not, is the Dream Feather. This spec is picking up literally as much evasion as I can. I'm aiming for 50k evasion. And the Dream Feather gives you 1% attack damage, not specific to physical, but attack damage per 450 evasion. So, Queen of the Forest will give me move speed per evasion, Dream Feather will give me damage per evasion, and then I'll have all this dodge for my Dark Ray Vectors. If I can manage to not get hit at all, I might just wear, well, not get hit at all, but very rarely, I will use an Abyssus to scale the hell out of that Dream Feather along with the Meganords. Now, keep in mind, this is just unique on top of unique on top of unique. So getting the life I need might be tough. Might. The resistance, on the other hand, I think I'm squared off on. I'm already resist cap, and Dark Ray offers up to 40% lightning res. What's it called? Queen of the Forest offers tri-res, mostly cold. So I think I could squeeze this out. It's a complete gimmick spec, avoidance spec with max block, ton of dodge and evasion. Pray to God it works out, and I'm using swords. So that's it.
I think that life thing will be the gimmick, but otherwise, it sounds like pretty cool. Like combination of things. You could run the block flask to help cover that a bit further, I think, and as long as you're really trying to keep that up a lot of the time when you're in danger.
I can use Jade flasks because Jade with that much evasion percent is damage, move speed, evasion for me. It does it all.
So you just gonna run all Jade flasks. So you can probably get away with just like 3.
No,
and
I'm
still
going to
have
use
the block flasks.
2 instant lives, 2 Jades, and then probably its series favor. And the reason why I don't use its series step is then I don't have Dark Ray Vectors on. So
Right.
kind of pointless.
That's a interesting spec. That's a lot of uniques to revolve a build around. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty interested in how it works. Not like necessarily in a bad way. Like you could also look at it in a good way because now you don't have to look for like those perfect boots with tri-res, movement speed, life, etc. And you just it seems really interesting. So because most builds,
everything revolves around
gonna...
the shield. The shield is everything.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were talking about how you're gonna try to craft a crazy evasion shield.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a huge source of evasion, so I can imagine you're getting pretty ham on that.
Well,
But sometimes those unique builds can just click, though. Sometimes you can get just the right balance. So it could work.
Yeah.
How high do you think, what's like your expected amount of evasion on your shield?
Right now I'm sitting at, I have a 1300 evasion shield, 1100 evasion, but I crafted one last league with 1800 evasion with all top tier rolls. And you could get, if you don't have life on it, I think you get like a 2400 evasion shield, which is just not worth it because you need the life. But with life, you can get about 2k-ish. I think it's possible. It just needs to be rolled very, very well. And usually evasion shields have very high block chance, so it works out really well. You can get like a 32% base block shield with that much evasion.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I'm very eager to see how that works out, Zeno. Please don't rip.
Yeah. I want to see this as well.
All right. Well, I'm already at 81% evasion if you haven't seen the spec. So it's pretty ridiculous. And it's just I don't know. Raw evasion is everything in the spec. Once you're sitting at like 300+%, it's nuts. I'm hoping it works. Physical spells will still be the bane of my existence, but with a decent amount of spell block and spell dodge, I think I could pull it off. I don't know. It's gonna be rough. It was my most successful build last league. It was great. Achieved level 90 with it, and I rarely got hit. I mean, I AFK'd in front of Map Val for 30 minutes. As long as I kept up my frenzy charges, I just hit him once, and I didn't get hit. So by Val smashes, it was pretty silly. So that's all I got. Oh, and then I use life gain on hit if I get a 6 link. So if as soon as I take a hit with 16 attacks per second, you just full life right away. It's one shot or go home. That's it.
That's crazy.
It sounds like it could work pretty well in Beyond, because there's no physical spell beyond monsters. There's the new Exile, so there's 2 Exiles you got to watch out for now. The Big Bone, whatever his name is, with the with the EK totems and the normal one. But Beyond, as far as it goes, doesn't have any extra physical spells.
No, the cold damage, the cold storm call effect.
Yeah, it's 50 cold, 50 fizz. That's right.
Yep.
But I don't think that's enough to really worry about too much.
No.
It's really easy to avoid those anyway. Like just moving around a little bit, it's been pretty avoidable. So I think as far as Beyond goes, that could work pretty well. And dodge, like spell dodge, is like so good for most of the dangerous things. As spells like awesome. Flame Surge and all that. Yeah, that's yeah, and Ondars for your high evasion for like the no Ondars. Your high evasion for the tornado shot action, I think will be good. I'm interested to see how that works out.
I would be happy to reach 20k DPS. I doubt I will, but I'll be happy to. With the investing into that much evasion, it's like it's gonna be so hard. It's gonna be Abyss or go home. I already know it, but we'll see.
I can respect a good low DPS build, Xeno. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah, you can. Here, guys.
That said, I'll transition into what I've been up to.
No.
So what I've been up to is in Path of Exile land. I've actually been mixing it up a little bit lately. I went over and checked out a bit of Grim Dawn action, which received the multiplayer update. Played a bit of that with Pong, so that was pretty good fun. The game's looking pretty nice, shaping up to be pretty good. It's not really a game that can really compete with Path of Exile in my mind, but it's a good holiday game. You know, like I'll take a couple days off Path of Exile and go play some Grim Dawn. And I've also been playing the new Wasteland, which people have pointed out the dirty mustache. It's actually a Desert Ranger mustache, and it's because I've been getting fully into the wastelanding action. So I'm trying to live out my character with the dirty mustache, pistolero, Western Australian sort of guy, like a American Western cross Australian. That's good. This is my character. So I've been role playing him a little bit. But back in Path of Exile land, I actually trying to kick the name of no DPS Ziggy. I went back and respect my crit Ethereal Knives character. Oh, EK! What a surprise, right? But I've made a few EK characters now since the changes, and they were all just kind of standard, normal spellcast EK characters, mostly defensive, mind over matter, and also just a standard Iron Reflexes EK character, and that worked out pretty good. I feel like EK got a little bit of a buff. It seemed like more of a buff than it was, but overall it feels a bit stronger. But I actually I played a crit EK character, and oh damn, them buffs! Oh man, I feel it so much. I redesigned this character, and it's like 10 times better than it was, because I made this right before the patch, and I haven't respected until now. It was like all set up. It's got Ming's Heart. It's got some just okay-ish crit gear, and I respected in this patch, and oh, so good. I think EK really shines now with crit. So the new tree, the new shadow area, like everything over there just feels so much better. So the passives all turn out really well. And just like the crit EK thing by itself is insane. But the most important thing was the change to Assassin's Mark and Curse on Hit. Previously with this character I was using GMP Ball Lightning to Curse on Hit with critical weakness. And it was okay. It was kind of just a convenience thing. You could curse the whole screen with one go. Sometimes it wouldn't work. Sometimes it wouldn't really, it wasn't that a big a deal. You just get a bit more crit damage, a bit more crit chance. But Assassin's Mark, I tried this with the GMP Ball Lightning. Now it's 100% chance to hit. This curse on hit has been buffed pretty dramatically in my opinion. And it's also got extra curse effectiveness on there, which scales the crit damage, the crit chance, and the power charge chance as well. So I'm able to now drop power charge on crit on that character and use crit damage, which is like a massive damage boost, and run this set up to fully sustain power charges on everything but bosses. and it just clears so fast. And I've reached my highest ever DPS with the character because of it. So I think it
So you
starts off
reached
at about
5K?
20k. No,
Sorry, had to.
good run, Zeno.
Are
Good
you
run.
using Added Chaos too? I actually wanted to know that in your spec.
No, I actually shifted over into Added Fire. I think Added Chaos is dead. Added Chaos is no good with EK anymore
No.
because the addition of the fizz damage on the tree makes Added Fire better. The more fizz damage you get, the better Added Fire becomes because you're scaling your fizz damage rather than just attack speed. With no added fizz or just a normal rustic sash, Added Fire and Added Chaos are about the same. But once you start adding that extra fizz from the tree, Added Fire becomes better. But it's the build starts at about 20k DPS with just like your normal crit EK, and then with everything up like File Haste and Atziri's Promise, because you're fully chaining that all the time and everything else, it's easy over 50k DPS, which is like the most I've ever had on character. Oh man, it feels so good. It's like a perfect Rampage character. If I was gonna make a Rampage character right now, I'd remake that one, even though I've already played it, just because it's so much fun. So I think oh man, the Assassin's Mark thing, I didn't realize the full power of it because I'm using it on my Tornado Shot character, and the power charge isn't enough. Maybe with a quality one, the power charge generation would be enough, but with something that has very high DPS like that, and something using the curse on hit especially, with the extra effectiveness multiplier is like insane. So yeah, I'm curious. Have you guys used the new curse on hit at all? Because I feel like it's not getting the appreciation it deserves.
I have not used it, but I've watched a lot of streamers who have, and it seems insane in a summoner setup. I watched Angry A play it with Arc, Curse on Hit, and then 4 curses, and it was just like insta 4 curse party, and he was running elemental equilibrium, and there we go. And with elemental weakness in he was doing like minus 90% all res alone because of how strong Curse on Hit is. And then vulnerability, temp chains, and then feeble is just like ridiculous how strong Curse on Hit is. And then you pick up all the curse nodes and it just snowballs from there. I think curses are underrated. They're hard to fit in some builds just because there's so many good gem setups now, especially with the introduction of heralds. You know, you always have to have your cast on damage. Do you suffer your cast on damage taken setup for Curse on Hit? Things like that. Sometimes it's hard to fit in your build, but it's completely viable. It's so solid. Box?
Yeah, that's the
I
biggest
think,
thing. It's very gem hungry.
For my discharger, my viewers recommended a Curse on Hit Ice Nova, and I was like, you know, this actually sounds really good because Ice Nova scales with all the area of effect nodes you'd pick up on a discharger. The quality on Ice Nova would be area of effect, and then if you picked up Elemental Equilibrium and then attached the Curse on Hit with your two, like for example, Curse on Hit with Elemental Weakness and Flammability, you use one Ice Nova that hits almost the whole screen if you're stacking full AoE, which curses Elemental Equilibrium, Flammability, and applies Elemental Weakness, Flammability, and then applies Elemental Equilibrium, and then it gets the 19% curse effectiveness. I think it's 19% at 2020. I could be wrong. It might be fluctuating a couple percents. But yeah, it's definitely really good. One thing is for Beyond Mobs too, because when Beyond Mobs spawn, you have to recurse, and if you have like a curse on hit and you're spamming curse on hit, immediately recurses, which is it's pretty nice. But I think the extra curse effectiveness from the gem itself is what really brings it out.
Yeah, for sure. That's huge. I think this is curse on hit's definitely a thing people need to be more aware of now instead of just like chucking a curse on your character. If you have the extra gem slots, and that's it, as Zeno was saying, it's very gem hungry, and a lot of the time you can't fit because you kind of need like a 4 link to make it work. Depending on your skill setup, you can probably run like Arc, Curse on Hit, and then a Curse for like in a wand or something. But most of the time, like I think the best setups are something that like screen size, like GMP Ball Lightning, for example. You need GMP, you need Ball Lightning, you need the Curse on Hit, you need Curse. Or if you're running 2 curses, you need a skill, Curse on Hit, and 2 curses. So that's like a 4 link either way, and it's very hard to find those sockets sometimes. But if you can find those sockets, and if you can drop something else that's not quite as important, it's a huge buff. Because now that it's 100%, that's like it's way better. It's way more effective to spread the curse across like mobs with most more. So there's a lot of skills that are way more effective than actually the curse AOE radius. So I think it's really powerful with the 100%, and then with the curse scaling. I mean, I don't have any curse nodes on that character I was using it on, and it was still working really well. So if you're also getting some curse nodes, that's insane. So I think that's definitely something people need to work into their builds a bit more.
Chat was suggesting taking out your vulnerability and using enhance once your gems get leveled up, and using enhance with the curse on hit, because excuse me, with your curses, because you're gonna have 3 curses in there, and your enhance is gonna affect all 3 of those. And can you imagine, you know, getting like a level, let's see, you have your level 20 curse, and then it would be 8%, 8%, 16, 20. You can have yourself a 36% quality curse, 3 of them. That is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty insane. Quality on a lot of those curses is like ridiculous. Like some of them, like quality, like 20 quality is worth more than a level 20 gem. So that's pretty insane.
Yep.
Temp Chains has insane scaling on quality as well.
Heck yeah. So let's go into our next part. Let's talk about these level 100s. Like 3 weeks, 3 weeks to almost a month into the league. We're not even at a month yet. So 3 weeks into the leagues, and we have 2 level 100s. The hardcore actually obtained it before the softcore, which might be the first time ever. I might be wrong here, but
that's usually the case. I thought.
And I thought it was the other way around. Softcore usually does it. Regardless, I'm probably wrong. I'm really good at that. But the ETUP achieving level 100 first, he used Mjolnir, an arc build with Mjolnir, correct? And he just tore it up. Major props to you, ETUP. And then Chatterino did the first in level 100 in Rampage. I'm really curious to see how many times he died, but still, they were done really, really fast, and much props to you guys. Do you guys have anything you would like to add about level 100 first?
Yeah, the point about that for like Chatterino is that he pretty much, the reason I feel like hardcore usually gets the higher levels before softcore is because they're not dying, so they're playing efficiently. Often the players that are really invested in the game are often playing hardcore, but not always. So that's sometimes the factor, but also the factor is that hardcore players are never dying, so they're never taking that XP penalty. And that XP penalty is absolutely brutal in the 90s. 10% in the 90s is insane. So I feel like, one of you guys mentioned before the show, like Chatterino had to have just not died like in the 90s plus. It must have just been absolutely dominating and not dying at all, because you can't like reach a level 100 if you're dying. It's not going to happen. If you die like once every 2 days when you quest to 100, you're not going to make it, because it puts you back so far.
Yep. One thing I wanted to bring up is I think ETUP hit level 100 in 17 days playtime as well. I don't know the exact amount of playtime. I do believe it was on the Reddit, but I want to say it was around 17 days of playtime, which shows like how efficient he was in his fun, like his time of leveling. Like that's absolutely absurd. Because I have characters that have 17 days worth of playtime on them, and you know, here I am just like casually doing some trades, leveling up, you know, doing some magic find runs, and here's a guy who has the same amount of playtime as me, who's, you know, 20 levels higher, or not 20, you know, like 10 levels higher than me, but that 10 level difference from like 90 to 100 is insane, like the experience gap. So that's really mind blowing how fast he achieved it when you think about it.
And he was still doing Forsaken Masters with it. So I mean, it's like. Obviously, that's not
quests,
like it's crazy. Not to mention sweet justice for him. That whole issue in Nemesis, you know, this is sweet redemption for ETUP. It's nice to see him get that level 100. Nemesis kind of got overshadowed the level 100 with that cast on death exploit, with the snapshotting the minions. So it's good to see him get that level 100. I feel like he deserved back in Nemesis. So congratulations, dude. Killed it.
Yeah, well deserved.
Really quickly.
Congrats to both.
According to the chat, it was 3 days total of AFK time, so it was 14 days according to them. I don't know 100% what's accurate, but I think he said like just tallying on maybe when he was asleep or something, it was left on, clocked on. So supposedly it was done in 14 days.
Wow.
As well, which is just even more crazy.
Yeah, there's just no downtime there. It's just like spending all his time always getting XP, and that's like that's one of the biggest separators in like races and stuff. Even on the small scale, is like people that do really well just have no downtime. They always know what they're doing next, and that even extends into the people going for level 100. They always, you know, they always have their maps ready. They're if they're not in a map, they're rolling a map, getting ready to get back into a map. So, and ETUP is, you know, he's the master of that. He's the master of just always go.
Something else that just recently happened was the 8 of 8 challenge happened. The 8 of 8 challenges has been done. Earlier this morning, I think it was all squared off. But the 8 of 8 challenges this time around wasn't like, go farm Uber Ziri until you get lucky enough to get an axe. Thank God. It was more of a grind, like clear every single zone, get 65 of all classes, then your typical Beyond and Rampage type setup. And it's really nice to see that all it takes is just time and good effort to get these 8 of 8. So congratulations. I'm not even
Getting
sure
the
who got
masters
it.
to 8. You have to get all masters to 8 for that, don't you? Which
Yes,
that
getting
is
all
insane.
masters to 8, which is just that is a grind. I mean, that is just endless grind. He probably
Honestly, that's like almost as impressive as reaching a level 100 at this point. Like getting all masters to level 8, at least in terms of how long it takes to level them.
wait, what is his character's name? It doesn't say the character's name. But regardless, that is phenomenal. Getting 8 of 8, like he must have done a lot of grinding in Tidal Island before the nerf or something along those lines, where he was just farming before the nerf happened. Because getting 8 of 8 masters is just the biggest time-consuming thing. Like, oh my god.
I want to assume this has to be done with the group as well because Zana herself, getting her to 8 is like a crazy feat within itself. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I think you
Like,
need
I
a
can
good
understand the
community
other ones.
working with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Definitely. That's awesome though. Like, congratulations. That's so crazy.
Yeah, congrats to all those guys. That's insane. So it was an interesting point. I think maybe you mentioned it a while back, so you know that ETUP has pretty much hit 100, or he's hit 100 now, and still doesn't have any 8 masters. I don't think he has any yet.
Not
So-
sure. I haven't seen, and he's done them all. He's hit level 100 before.
Yeah,
I know
he's
he hit
done all
100
the
before
missions
getting a
on
level 8.
100.
I'm fairly
Yeah,
certain.
Yeah, so he did every single one he ran into in the natural course of gameplay, and hasn't reached level 8 on any of them. And I think that's what the devs are pushing for, is like the natural sort of just running into them as you play the game, rather than farming for them specifically. Not reaching level 8 by the time you reach a level 100, which is like in Path of Exile. Like coming from closed beta in Path of Exile, talking about level 100 was like, no one's ever gonna reach level 100. Maybe one person in a year's time. Like it's changed. The game's changed a lot now, but. Yeah, I had a few other points I wanted to talk about with ETUP's 100 especially, or both of their 100s, because cartographer boxes were nerfed. So let's talk about the cartographer change, because this I think is pretty interesting. It was nerfed in terms of map progression very severely. You can only get +1 level now. But in terms of if you're already in those high-level maps, so like ETUP was, like Chatterino was, to be able to reach level 100, you pretty much need to be farming 77s, 78s. If you're already in those, then the cartographers are really not that nerfed. They're still extremely powerful. You can still get, like, how many maps can you still get out of them? It's plus
Crazy.
6 or plus, and then mirrored, and then additional items, and you
Let's-
can still get
Right,
like
and
an
then
easy, like close to
quantity.
20 maps.
Yes.
They were nerfed with the right amount. To get that, you would have to continually roll it and get pretty lucky, to be honest. I mean, yes, mirrored maps are white. They're still considered maps. But to be completely honest, you're not getting the +5s anymore. Skipping from 73 to 78s right away.
Oh
You're-
yeah.
You're not getting the +7 or 8 additional maps. So
Oh, it's +3. Sorry, not
Yeah.
+1. Apparently.
it's still
But yeah.
it's still good, but it's not insane. At least
So I feel like in terms of the rebalance, in terms of skipping forwards in the map system, that was a really good change, because now I've ran into quite a few cartos and they've been really good sustain boosts. Like I'm like, yes, cool, I'm sustaining just now like -1 of what I'm currently playing, but so I'm not advancing, but I still feel like maybe there's some work to be done on the sustain front. How many maps you can get at the higher levels? So like when you're in those 77 maps, getting like heaps of 77s back, I feel like that probably needs a bit of a rebalance.
I would agree, but I'm still really happy the way it is designed at the moment, because it kind of gives you like an end game goal. Like, okay, so when I reach my end game of my 77s and 78, if I can sustain a map pool, I can, not guarantee myself, but there's a chance I can get a cartographer's, which rewards me back of my pool of 77s and 78s. So for me, like it's like a super exciting thing knowing that if I make it to the 78s, I'm looking forward for everything I could find to sustain it at that point. But as said, I'm very happy they eliminated, and you said how the progression of maps come out of the cartographers. You're not going up; you're just pretty much staying the same. There's a chance you could go up, but typically it's very rare for you to get like a +3 box with mirrored, with additional, etc.
yeah.
If you keep, I don't
And
know
that's
which
all
one
3
the previous
prefixes
design
right
is.
there.
Yeah, I still do think that they need to nerf the amount of maps gained out of it, because there's been times, I think myself, when I was running with my friend, that we pulled out, let's see, we're running like a 76 Academy, and we pulled out like 12 76 maps, and I'm just like, so 6 of these are mirrored, that's okay, I'll just give you 6, I have my own base now. And it's still like an insane amount, though. So I think it may need to be adjusted.
Screw it, man. White maps are so underrated. Like I've learned that from Rise, watching that dude play. White maps are amazing. I get like sometimes I get like 5 maps out of a white map, and I'm like, why am I even wasting my time? That obviously rolling your maps in, you have a good enough clear speed is more experience per level. But in terms of just getting your maps back, yes, quantity helps, but still, white maps are solid. I have no beef with white maps, especially because I die a lot. What?
Everything I've seen, like all of the people who have done like 1,000 map tests and stuff, and all of my personal experience as well, and everything everyone will talk to is like the map system is just ride the RNG. There's very little you can actually do to change how things are gonna go.
It
It's
really
very
is.
preset. Yeah,
But that's why
there's
I'm
not much you
happy
can do
with
about that.
the Beyond League. Actually, one thing to tell people, if you guys don't know, is Haku in a map is actually very important. Because when I was with my friend, we were running a 77 shipyard and got Haku. And we don't,
Mm,
I mean, of course, you run it for the Masters, but if you go into a Masters area, it's +1 of the zone you're in. This may have been changed. I don't think it has, but this was like a week ago when we were doing it and my characters were alive. And we gained a 78 Palace out of the 77 Shipyard because in Haku's area, it's level 78. So there's so
yeah.
many ways to gain maps. It's crazy. And it's just like, oh. So it's awesome. It really is.
Yeah, it's well worth clearing those Haku zones, even if you're not doing the mission. Just clear it and kill the
Yep.
mobs and get the
Hmm.
potential for that extra
Exactly.
map drops. Yeah, it's really good.
Yep.
A few people in chat are bringing up Untainted Paradise. I think we should touch on that. I ran Untainted with Pox, I think. When I was like level,
Could be.
I think I was like 86 at the time when I ran it, which is like way beyond the XP penalty. Like getting no XP back from it because of the XP penalty. So it was almost a waste of a spot. But I still did get like 7.5% XP at level 86, which is pretty insane for a 66 map. But I feel like overall, though, despite that, and despite its pretty good XP, I don't think, because this is the conversation in the chat mostly, is like that, it's all getting to level 100 is all like Untainted Paradise RNG. If you're getting Untainted Paradise, you're getting to 100. I feel like it hasn't had that much of an impact. I feel like Katos is like the main thing. I can't imagine Untainted really having that much of an
I
impact. What do you
think
guys reckon?
I think Untainted is like amazing for gem leveling. Obviously, it's good for that early leveling. It's great and whatnot. But Enlighten actually has a use now with Untainted guys. Like think of a level 3
Yeah,
Enlighten, and then you throw it in that freaking bonus support gem, that 5% bonus support gem. You can get that bonus quality on your empowers, which makes it level quicker. You can throw your Enlighten in there to level up your active skills. You can throw your Enhance in that +5% to level up your Enhances quicker. Unchained is like amazing for leveling gems. That's what I think it is. Obviously, there's some scams going on with Untainted Paradise 2 right now. I think that just goes on user error more than anything. Make sure the maps are up first. The person inside the map can open and close the area with like a bookcase or something. I mean, the scam behind it, it's kind of scummy. If you're scamming people, you'll probably get your own, but be wary of those kind of things. But Untainted, I don't know, mixed feelings about it. I haven't even been in one, but just
okay.
like reading the reviews behind
Apparently the chat's saying that ETOP played a lot of Untainted, and even 99, it's like better XP than 78. I don't know.
it.
I
Wow,
really didn't think that would be the case, but if that
wow,
is, I guess I'm wrong. But maybe Untainted is actually really good.
What if
So
they
maybe
put
it is
a
having a bigger
limitation?
impact then.
wow.
Like you can run one Untainted a day, like or something. Just so like if you get it, you get it, and even if you go looking for it, you can only do it once a day. I don't really know. I'm not in like the. I don't know. I just thought of an idea of putting just a limitation on how many you can run, rather than because I know a lot of people don't like it because I think it's very RNG based, which is true. But unless you're going to be buying it, I highly doubt you're going to be finding one every single day. It's very uncommon to find it. Like between my mapping group, between like my own personal mapping group, I have never found an Untainted before, like ever so far.
Yeah, I've never got my personal one. I only went in one because of the one you invited me in. I haven't had one spawn for me at all yet.
No, same. So let's go on to the next part. Let's
But
talk about the weapon crafting. In my opinion, we got about 15 minutes left. You want to
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about?
I'll go through the brief explanation of the new weapon crafting meta for like really good GG endgame weapons. Like you can obviously still get better rares, but these are like as good as like 90% of it's like at the 90% threshold of like quality, like how good these are. So here's the kind of the way the new age crafting is done, and I'll give a shout out to Rapid on Reddit here because he did a really good explanation, which I'll read out here. So this is the new way, the way new age crafting works. You get one very good prefix, so you get a top flat, and the way people are doing this is with the granite recipe, so they're going like the really high flat. And then what you do is instead of using an augment, so you don't augment it, you actually regal the one stat item. So this is like something that's always been like a bit of a joke in the past. It's like, you know, you got a 2-stat rare. It's like, lol, what a noob. You forgot to throw the augment on it. But this time it's actually like the best way of doing it. What you'll do is you'll regal in the hopes of getting another really good prefix. So you regal it for your tyrannical or something like that. And then if you do get like a good percent fizz, even if it's not tyrannical or whatever, or maybe you get a usable secondary mod, so you get like some crit chance or attack speed or something, then you can use the multiple master crafting mod from, I think it's from Elrion, who allows you to craft multiple mods on there, and then you can craft it the rest of the way. So you start off with that really powerful base, and you have as many possible open slots ready for the master crafting. So you get a 3-stat item once you have your first stat, so your really good flat fizz, for example, then your regal stat, which could be like a tyrannical or something, and then your Elrion mod, and then you have the 3 extra mods left for master crafting, and you can make a really insane weapons that way. And I've already seen several weapons up on Reddit, like really good wands, really good bows, like just some really insane weapons.
400 DPS bows, system. No problem.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a bit OP? I mean,
yes, I do. I think it's probably not quite exactly what the devs are aiming for. I think we'll be able to ask them about this when they actually get on in a minute. But I do think it's probably a little bit beyond what they were expecting with this. I think it's pretty insane.
It's pretty hard to achieve level 8, though. I mean, I wouldn't say it's hard. It takes a lot of dedication.
One person needs it. That's it.
Just, yeah, well, do you trust that one person?
Is that one person... Basically, that one person has to be trusted, because if he isn't trusted, he's not making money. You're going to tip that guy.
Yeah.
If you don't tip... Well, he'll be like, you have to give me an extra divine or something, you know? So, he's automatically going to be trusted, because he wants money.
It's a good way to look at it.
There is no trust issue. If you're first level 8 Elrond, you're getting cash. Like, you have money in your pocket. Something I would not know about in this game.
I like it. I like it, even if it's overpowered. It makes me happy. So it's nice.
I like it. I like it too. The alternative
it gives a
way
really
of
good
crafting.
incentive. Like after talking about this a lot, I was really debating like next league. I think I might just like hardcore grind masters out and try to get level 8s and just create new characters off that and just have a blast. Like, oh, I need this piece of gear. Let's just craft this. All right, cool. Look at that. That's really exciting, actually. It brings a whole new in-depth like play to Path of Exile.
Yeah, it's still pretty expensive. It's not Eternal Exalt expensive, and you're not gonna get the but you're not gonna get the items that you could potentially get with that, like the really mirror-worthy stuff. But it's still pretty expensive. I might have screwed up my explanation a little bit. Sorry, guys. I'll give you guys a link to the explanation here if you want to read up on it a bit more, and I'll make sure to put that in YouTube, just in case I spoke the explanation of how it works exactly. But the idea is that you regal the 1-stat item and turn it into a rare, and then use the master crafting to take it the rest of the way. That's the core of the idea. I might have screwed up on some of the specifics there.
When you augment a blue, you can have 1 prefix, 1 suffix. When you regal a blue with 1 prefix, you can have 2 prefixes with only 2 stats.
Yeah,
so
I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. I think I said it right, didn't I?
Yep.
Yeah,
just reiterating. So
yeah, okay, cool.
Wasn't
sure. It's a rather complex sort of way of approaching this. It's pretty backwards to the way crafting has been done in the past. But a good example of those new master mods coming into effect. So I do think it is a bit beyond what the devs were posting, and I think Rory said something along the lines of flaring is like a bit more, or the flat fizz is a bit more than what they were expecting it to be, a bit more popular than they were expecting. But as Pox said, I think I like it being in the game. I think it's cool, and it's a nice alternative way of doing it. But I do expect maybe it gets changed a little, or just something to do with that.
Or Elrond can only do 2 enchants, 2 mastercrafts, rather than all of them.
Yeah, I wonder how that would work out. Like allowing, putting that mod on there allows you to have 2 more mods rather than 3 more mods.
Yeah. So the next thing, it's kind of related. Flat physical. I want to talk about flat physical on poe.xyz.trade or poe.trade, whatever website, you know, it's poe.trade now. There is a way to get extremely cheap items using master crafting as well. that I've discovered that what you should do is, I've learned this from my friend Normac as well as other people in the stream. If you're looking for like a high IPD weapon, normally you would just search, I want something with at least 200 DPS from 200 to 250 range. I can afford this weapon. So you type 200 PDPS. You set your quality thing at the bottom, normalized quality, which no longer exists, and then you would find your weapon, buy it because it's worth the price range you're looking for. Well, now you can get that item for fairly cheap because of how flat physical works. If you can find an item, what you're going to do is you go on PoE.trade and you go for the IPD, you search for the increased physical damage %, and you click that little pitchfork, that equal sign thing, and you slash it out. Your item will not search for things with increased physical damage. And then you look up flat physical damage. And once you look that up, you're going to click on the flat physical damage, and then it's going to separate them all by the highest tier flat physical damage. Now, if this has 2 open prefixes or even 1 open prefix, you can craft a fairly decent weapon with this. If, let's say, for instance, if you get a sword with like 21 to 40 flat fizz, and it's already like 1.8 because it has attack speed on it, and you can roll 2 IPD rolls on it, now you're sitting in a crazy sword, and the guy's probably only selling it for 2 chaos. It's amazing what you can find by actually eliminating a mod on PoE.trade and then further crafting it. Or another way is using the granite recipe, where if you sell a granite, an augment, and the weapon of your choice, it has to be at least a blue weapon, it will add a flat physical, the lowest roll. Well, then if you take that lowest rolled flat physical, sell an augment and another granite, it'll go up the next tier. You can keep doing this until it can't go up anymore in tiers. I don't think you get the highest tier with it. I think you get second highest, maybe third highest. And then you can then craft your IPD rolls on things like that too, if you have really bad luck. So because the 11 to 20 flat fizz isn't nearly as good as getting an item with higher flat fizz, the IPD roll is not. I mean, obviously a tyrannical is amazing, but I think getting the flat fizz is more important. This is a really cheap way to buy your weapons now. I mean, do you have any comments on this, guys?
It's pretty insane. It's kind of almost like a form of market arbitrage, like finding like these items with the new in the new system should be priced higher, but they're not because there's the lack of knowledge of the potential of these items for the people selling them. As you said, these people selling them for 2 chaos don't realize that this could be a 300 DPS weapon. So it's kind of like an arbitrage in that, and I feel like it probably will normalize the more people become aware of it. But it's the sort of mechanic that is completely foreign to beginner players when they're searching for gear. So I think there's always going to be that sort of bit of arbitrage available there. So I think it's a pretty good way of getting that cheap weapons for sure. But it'll be interesting to see how the market plays out in the future, how prevalent it is. Now that more people know about it. Oh, giving away the tips, Zeno.
I still think it's going to work because there's going to be, for example, people like me who are just too lazy to learn. Like, I've been playing the game for a year and a half, 2 years now almost, and I still haven't learned prefixes and suffixes because I just haven't looked at a chart yet. So I just don't.
Why are you on this podcast?
What?
I know like some of them. I know like 50% of them. Like that's a prefix, that's a suffix. But then there's some of them just like, is that a prefix? Is that a suffix? I'm like, I'm kind of lazy. I'll just go buy this one for 2 exalted. It's okay.
For all of you who are like Pox, there's a website called poemods.com. Go there, educate yourself.
Excellent. Cheating. You can't do that.
No, it's not
so
cheating.
It's so clear and easy when you click on the item, then you click on the prefix, and you can see the list of them. You can click on the actual thing, and it shows you the brackets. Really, really good site. Definitely one to add to your bookmarks. PoE mods. I use it extensively. I use it like all the time when I'm crafting or shopping.
This is how I
craft. Just as a reminder.
Oh my god.
But no,
to be fair, I always do. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I really do like the idea of using the market to look and sort out your stats and whatnot to pick out what you want. I think it's really smart. So that's what I tried to do, and I was like sitting there when I was looking for my wands and stuff. I was looking for like which ones had flat spell damage for hybrids, and what had the spots open to craft it on it. And that's exactly what I did at the start of the league to get one of my weapons. But it's pretty neat. It really is pretty neat.
All right, Pox. Is the spell damage mana roll a prefix or a suffix?
I want to say it's a prefix, but I could be wrong. It's a prefix.
Any of those damage ones are prefix.
Yeah, that's the easiest question.
Ones are always prefix. Yeah.
It's all right.
Nah, I don't like being put on the
Here we
spot
quiz
like that.
show incoming.
See, he knows some things, guys.
Well done, Fox. The one that always trolls me is attributes like strength, dexterity. I always forget they're a suffix, and I always go like, yes, I can mastercraft an extra resist on
Oh.
this. And then like I
Mhm,
buy it, and
yeah.
I'm like, yes, oh, perfect. There's gonna be the dexterity. You bastard.
Nothing
Let's
is
see what
worse.
she did
It always
there.
sneaks in there, the sneaky dexterity. Oh man, that's got me a few times now this league. So yeah, that one always gets me.
The Thorns God claims another Exalt. The Thorns God. Don't forget him.
I hate Thorn so much.
They have to have those in the game for balance. A lot of
I
time,
know.
like regen, like 5.6 additional regen,
Mm-hmm.
guys. Woo! They have to have.
I
No,
remember
there's some
Yellow.
builds that can use that.
I mean, I guess yeah, but wouldn't you rather have like something?
Life?
I don't know. Something like.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But as I think even Chris Wilson said at one time, you have to have those terrible mods to make the good ones look good.
You do.
Like Thorns
You do.
makes the good rolls look good,
Yes.
and it makes exalting a bit more exciting when you do exalt that Thorns. It's so good.
I didn't like it. I eternal exalted a piece of gear in my on my last or in the last league, and I rolled like 1 thorns and then like reverted back and then I just didn't. I was like, no, I'm just gonna YOLO exalted this time. And then rolled 3 thorns and I was
Can't
like,
happen
okay, this
again.
game. I was like, this
It's an improvement, man. You got a better
It
item
was.
than what you would have had.
1 to 3. How about next time it changes?
An
the
exalt
stat?
and an
It's okay.
eternal for 2 extra Thorns damage.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Value.
It was pretty good. It could have saved me at one time.
Can't complain. Improvement's an improvement.
I once
Oh,
I had a
no.
quiver and I alked it and it rolled like all these crappy stats with like +1 mana gain. I was like, or +2 mana gain. I was like, look guys, can't get much worse than this. So I scour alked it again and it had the same crap stats with +1 mana gain. And I was like, yeah, great. It happens.
You got showed. Yeah. Iron Jesus doesn't take kindly to words like that. It can't get much worse than this, can it?
Yep, it happens.
Bam.
Same thing with the rolling blessed. You're like, well, I'm at +31. You know, the only way I can go up is or I can go down to 30, and you go down to 30.
Someone in chat brought up a pretty interesting point about another thing about like the new age crafting, neo crafting, is actually adding on purpose that bad mod you don't want. So adding via Haku like thorns, and then exalting, and then you have no chance of getting thorns then, and you can remove it later as long as you got a level 8 Haku. You can get it removed. So that's
true.
that's definitely changed the way that it's kind of like it's almost like a very cheap eternal.
Haku can enchant
Yeah,
thorns.
Yes, they were
Oh
saying
my.
you can like fill up your prefixes or fill up your suffixes to guarantee that you're exalting a prefix or a suffix. You can't guarantee what it is, but it's
Yeah.
either if you lock out. Yeah, that's a very smart thing to do.
Yep.
Mm.
It's a little bit more. No, actually, that's a safe way of doing it. It's making the eternal even better. That's actually pretty legit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, well, guys, I hope you enjoyed our first little 50-minute segment here. We're going to be going down for about 10 minutes now. We're going to get the Grinding Gear game devs in here, and we got to get everything set up, do a quick video check, audio check. Hype. Where's your hype, man?
And we'll
Ziggy?
be back with some developer action. It's gonna be good. I'm excited.
Stay tuned, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We are not done. This does not conclude the podcast. This is an intermission. Thank you very much. Stay tuned.
Bring up my awesome intermission picture.